We want to get the holistic welfare, swasthya. Yoga traditions accommodate several models of God and no God model also. Yoga Upanishads have specific guidance for each flavor. That is how you get several texts on this. And when one Swami or one Guru picks up one book, that becomes his tradition. Depending upon the choice of personal god, goddess, form and mantra, specific models of meditation and yoga are provided to facilitate the progressive journey. For example, Paramahansa Nityananda picks up one particular tradition. Of course, he gets into several things. Traditions of practice in each case has an approved model and under the authority of a religious leader or a guru. The traditional guru, the resources and institutional precincts help in proper initiation into this particular path. This is also called the sampradayas in Hindu traditional families, cultural variations in socio-academic study. So I call myself coming from the Shankara tradition with a particular way of lifestyle and all that. How do I represent myself in the community? In my house, in this festival, I prepare this type of special food, not that type of food. There is another tradition which says, no, that is not our tradition. We pick up God like this, in this particular way, we observe this particular puja and we prepare this special type of food. Both are, on the same wavelength, but our expressions are different. These works integrate the resources like Veda, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, Tantras, several such things to provide a custom tradition of value for a community. For example, when a devotee goes to current day masters like Satya Sai Baba or Amma or any other, they have their own model of teaching, blending several of these things. They are not accountable for any academic audit. They can say, Sri Rama talked to Hanuman and Hanuman was sent as a messenger to Sri Krishna. I in the academic section here sit, that is 3000 years ago, this is so many years ago, that doesn't matter. There the idea is communicate the message. Here it is historic thinking. So this and that does not gel. So we don't expect gurus to get into the examination mode and writing the academics and all that. No, that's not the way. And that insistence from the West on the Hindus of today's generation is a serious problem. See, I'll tell you one of the funny things that just few days ago it happened. One of our community people, a small group, was reading Mahabharata text, and the story of Karna comes in there. This Karna goes conquering all the places in India. And the writer writes, Karna, if you visualize the map of India, close to Delhi, somewhere around that area, the Kurukshetra, Indraprastha, all that, that's the center point. So Karna, on his conquering mode, he goes to the northeast, to the northwest, and then goes down to this corner, to the other corner, everywhere, and comes down. This is what is written as explanation. Now, people also beautifully believe that yes, India was so integrated and all. Now, if this explanation is taken out of that context and said, 3000 years ago, where was the northeast frontier of this particular description? Where was the deep South India with this particular description of the Pandyas and the Cheras and all that? It would not stand that test. But in the community, religious education, we just take that and we live with it, because we just peel off the sense of time and space. Karna, such a great person. This happens in every myth and mythology of every religion, every country. The only thing is, when people point out your books are not good, then you have got to say your books are also not good. So it is a fight, meaningless fight at some point of time. Much of this is reflected in temple worship and festivities of Hindu families. The families may not know of the yoga deeply embedded in it, but they get the benefit of it by observance as a custom. Generally, religious leaders, swamis, adopt one or other of these traditions as personal practice and advocate the same to their followers. That becomes the tradition of that school or that master. Over a period of time, there have been several updates and customization in this area. In short, this is a dynamic, living yoga tradition. Customization and choice adaptation, the exploration of different deity-related yogas is permitted here. You want to create a new god today? We create a yoga for that. Gods are here, not gods here, that is in the yoga tradition, not the ultimate or the doorkeepers of heaven or judgment makers. Gods are humans advanced in yoga. Okay? Gods are humans advanced in yoga. That is what Patanjali's yoga system brings. That is what Bhagavad Gita said. Arjuna, you don't know, you have forgotten. Unfortunately or fortunately, I remember all those things. Therefore, listen to me. It is like we telling the children, you don't understand, you follow what I say. So the difference between God and human in yoga tradition is gods are advanced beings. Okay? Any questions up to this point before I wrap up in the last two slides?
Humans who are advanced in yoga are godly.
They are gods, not godly. You can go beyond God also. See, many religions don't allow you to go beyond God. You go to the mandir, you go to the temple, and you know how we go around the deity. Okay? I'll show you one very simple thing, what you should observe. Suppose, let's say, this computer, here is the God. Okay? When we go to the temple, what do we do? We stand in front here like this and say, oh God. Then what do? We go around. Right? So when we go around, when we come 90 degrees, quarter like this, me and the God are in the same line. But I am looking this way behind God. God is looking the other direction from where I came. Right? You see the viewpoint here? When I stand here like this, I don't turn like this. How do we go? We go like this. So what does it mean? You look what is there behind God, beyond God. And God says, I will wait here. I know you are going to come back. I will guard this place. Then what happens? You don't stop here. You just go behind God.